Hey guys, V here. Today I'm going to be doing the Scorn of the Beasts of the Dark trial, or Dark Ifrit and Siren 2. So this fight is kind of a gear check in so much as it kind of checks that you have enough element resist, and if you pass, you are essentially guaranteed to win. If not, you just die and there's not really much you can do about it. So this is a little bit more about, I mean, obviously the units are important, but it's a little bit more about the gears and how effectively you're able to gear your units rather than them specifically. So if you think about like Omega, like the Omega trial, where every unit you had to be kind of geared for a high fire resistance, it's kind of like that, except the whole fight. So, but anyways, so this is the team I used to clear it. I'm using double healers, and that might seem a little bit strange, but it's really for safety. If you have 2 healers, this is a really safe way to go. There's not really going to be much that Ifrit and Siren can do to really cripple you completely. If you don't want to use 2 healers, if you want to go a bit more aggressive, you can decide to use a finisher. But you should probably use that finisher only for Siren, because Ifrit is just, has some kind of anti-finisher kind of tech, like, if you pass more than 1 threshold in a turn, he has thresholds at pretty much, like, every 10% HP. If you go past more than 1 in a turn, he does some pretty nasty fixed attacks that will probably not be too pleasant for your team to deal with. So if you want to go with the finisher, again, it's probably best to go with a lightning finisher, just deal with Siren quickly. In general, dealing with Siren first is recommended, because if you don't, Siren will summon Ifrit twice more. And Ifrit's kind of bulky, so it's just not very pleasant to have to try to chew through all his HP and then have him just come back again. It's not really great. But again, this is the team I used. This is Folka. Folka's gonna be useful here in her kind of debut to this channel, because she's a healer that focuses a lot on mana and getting rid of kind of debuffs. So that's kind of her niche in the kind of main healers. That's what she does best, and she's going to be doing it today, but it means that she also, can't be doing other healy stuff so much, like, re-raising. That's why Lotus Mage Fina is going to be here. But yeah, this is how I've decked out my Folka. This stuff here, and then here are her resistances. This is more than enough to do what needs to be done here. She has some innate water resist, which is nice. It's always nice when your party members have innate resist, you don't have to gear them too heavily yourself. Demon Rain is going to be my tank for this fight. He's going to be doing AoE physical tanking. His attack has taken a bit of a hit here because he needs the impervious shield just to mitigate some damage. Apart from that though, he's got like a lot of evade gear on him. As you can see, he's got the Dragoon helmet. It's going to help some resistances there. And then Chosen One's got 20% fire resist at least, and boosts his attack up a little bit, his HP up a little bit. There you go, there's his element resist. This is not perfect, but along with the buffs I will be using, it should be enough to keep him alive. 2B is going to be my main damage dealer and my breaker here. There are other damage dealers you can pick. You don't have to pick 2B. 2B is just very slot efficient, again, breaking and, dealing damage. Breaking's a little limited in this fight. You can only break Ifrit's defense and spirit, and you can only break Siren's attack and magic. So again, breaking kind of limited in use, but definitely going to be helpful. As for 2B, she just deals a lot of damage very quickly, and this fight is honestly going to take a very long time. So, like, I started a fight with Reagan, and while I could have survived, I was dealing like scratch damage every turn. It was just not very fun, and I'm like, I'm not going to enjoy myself. I'm going to take like 3 hours fighting these guys, and I'm just like, no, I'm not doing this. So instead, I'm going to go with 2B. This is what I've geared her with. I've geared her for non-elemental damage just because she can imbue herself with lightning, and I'm going to want to be a little bit picky and choosy on when I decide to deal lightning damage. But yeah, this is what I geared her with. The Genji helmet is good because it resists dark, so that's kind of nice. There's some ailment resistance here. King's armor, great armor. And then other stuff here. These are STMRs, but they can be swapped out. Judge's Oath is really good if you have it. Hexathion's Revelation, again, like pretty useful if you do have it. And then the King of the Beasts is going to be useful for both Siren and Ifrit. So it's a pretty good STMR if you have it. It was free, but it was a bit luck-based whether you got it or not. And she's equipped with Tetris Sulfid just to get some extra bird killer. My Lotus Mage Fina here is my second healer, but she's also doing some other stuff. She's going to be dispelling a lot in this fight. Ifrit and Siren buff themselves a lot and each other a lot, and we don't like that, so we need some dispel on one of our units, and Folka doesn't have it neatly, so I'm bringing Fina as well. Fina's also going to be able to do a lot of healing and re-raising, so that's nice. This is what I've geared her with. Protect Ring from the Final Fantasy VII event, very good here. Resists fire 30%. These other two aren't really relevant. The lightning may become relevant. Yes, it might be relevant. It's not super relevant though. It's not a big deal. And then yeah, just threw a little bit of limit burst stuff on when I could fit it in. These are her resistances. They'll do. And again, another unit making his debut on my channel is Zarg. Zargabaath is a very good buffer for this trial. You can also use Nicol, but Zarg is going to be very helpful because Zarg is very good at buffing against elements. And since pretty much every single piece of damage, except for like fixed attacks, is fire, water, and or dark. This is any kind of elemental buffing you can do in this fight is going to be super helpful to you. Because unless you're like a mega whale, you're probably not going to have the gear that you need to completely make it so that this fight's like trivial without any kind of elemental buffing. So Zarg's going to help us out here. He has a lot of different sources of elemental buffing, as we're going to see when we go into the fight. This is what I've geared him with. If you equip him with a light weapon, it buffs his stats, that's why that's there. And then here, this stuff. Force Mysterion, the killer part is not relevant, but the dark resistance is. That's what he's geared with. I have a bit of an unusual friend to be here. I'm not really sure why he made some of the choices he did, but it's not important. What's important is that he also has the resistances on her, so that's gonna be good. So anyways, this is our team. Let's go in. So from the very beginning of the fight, Siren's going to summon Ifrit. They're going to buff each other and then debuff us and poison us. So, to deal with this, we have our two healers. Fina is going to Dispel them, and Asunaga us. Unfortunately, they did put a resistance to physical and magical attacks on each other. But this isn't like the last trial where you just literally can't hurt them. They are going to take a little bit of damage, it's just minor. Folka, in the meantime, is going to use some abilities of Flowing Waters and Sobering Waters. These are just going to make it so that we can't get status, not even like charmed. And that is relevant in this fight. Siren will charm you and put you to sleep, and Ifrit will poison you, paralyze and stones a thing. It's really bad. So we don't want any of that, so we're going to use both these things. It's also going to prevent from any future stat debuffs, so that's kind of nice. Demon Rain, of course, is going to set up cover. Can't have that not being a thing. And then Zarg's gonna set up Bastion. Bastion is just one of the basic elemental resist things he has. It's gonna make it so we don't take any damage here. Or if we do, it's gonna be very minor. And my two Bs are just gonna set up their rotation with Serpent's full weapon. The Demon Rain doesn't have perfect elemental coverage. She does take a little bit of damage. So do my two Bs. But it's not a really big deal. They're alive, that's what's important. And Demon Rain's going to be able to counter quite a bit on Ifrit, as he does, netting us some Espers and a little bit of Limp Burst. So now that these guys have been kind of broken, they did buff each other again. As you can see, Ifrit got a buff to water resistance. Siren got nothing, but we're not using water, so we don't care. What we do care about is healing. Folka now has a bit of room to do whatever. Her water screen is very good. One of Zarg's weaknesses is that he is very mana hungry. But with Folka and Fina on the scene, we don't really have to worry about that. They have plenty of options, especially Folka, for healing mana. So we're just going to use these. Just regen a bit of mana. Zarg can use Arcadian Light. Again, good buff of his. Fina doesn't really have much she has to do right now. I'm gonna put re-raise on my 2Bs just for safety. They shouldn't need it, but again, just in case. I want to be safe. I'm recording after all. Reen's gonna use one of his cooldowns on Molten Armor. Molten Armor boosts everyone's fire and earth resistance and reduces physical damage. The fire part's relevant, so we're going to use it here. And then my 2Bs can start going. They're going to first set up True Charge Volt, just to deal a bit of extra damage. I'm going to hit Siren with it. But again, I want to kill Siren first, so... Well, that was a little dangerous, but fortunately Zarg's alive, and that's good. That's what we want to see. Not really sure why he decided to do a fixed damage attack, but there you have it. These two are a little weird sometimes. Anyway, it's not a big deal to deal with. Just gonna make sure they haven't buffed themselves. Oh, they did there. I don't really love that. I don't love that. So, instead, let's dispel that away. So these two follow a 5-turn rotation. Every 4th turn, our team's gonna get dispelled, and on the 5th turn, we only have 1 turn to kind of prepare for what's coming. And what comes is a big kind of chaos wave-like attack where they chain and they deal massive damage, and it would be really bad if we didn't have resistance on our units. Fortunately, we do have resistance, so I'm not too worried about that. Put defend on me. Just in case any of that silliness happens again. Oh, I kind of messed that up. That wasn't supposed to happen. I was supposed to chain that. It's a little unfortunate, but we should be okay. That was my mistake. So I wasn't quite ready for that lightning damage, but as you can see, it can be pretty dangerous to trigger Siren's protection against lightning. And I wasn't ready for that. That was my mistake. I shouldn't have done that, but it's alright. My team survived, as you can see. With Zarg's Bastion, we are going to be usually pretty safe. Not always, but usually pretty safe. We just need to Kiraja and then... Yeah, so now Siren has buffed them both against water and lightning damage. So I'm going to have to be a little patient. Doesn't matter, just gonna set this up again, set up cover again. My friend 2B here does a Phoenix. I'm gonna use Phoenix now. Because I can, essentially. Not really much else to say there. Set up Bastion again to protect them. And there's not really much I have to do with this 2B. Pod charge. But here's our first Espers summoned. So that's one down at least. I did kind of mess up there. I could have dealt more damage if I hadn't. But... Okay, so here's when it's coming. The Flame Beast Roar is going to happen. And that means that my team has been dispelled. So I have one turn to set up protection again. Which is, you know, pretty forgiving, because I'm just going to set up magical cover. Again, Folka is just gonna set up those mitigations again, so that we can't get stat debuffed. Kiraja, Fina, and then Spelga. Get rid of their buffs. And the reason I'm bringing Zarg is right here. Prismatic Barrier. With this cooldown ability, I should be able to use it every 5 turns, and it's going to completely negate their next attack. It buffs up my stats and my element resist enough that these two are not going to be able to deal any damage. And that's perfect, because now I can just go crazy on Dark Siren using lightning damage to really wail on her. And I don't really have to worry about what she does, because this is a scripted attack. She will not counter with her lightning and wind stuff, and even if she did, again, I have Prismatic Barrier up, and that way I can just do this. As you see, that's not amazing damage for 2B, but it's good enough. And they do their Chaos Wavy attack here, and no one is hurt. They just kind of stare, like, unimpressed. So now again, I'm a little bit free as to what to do with Folka. But I'm just gonna use the Limit Burst. It's pretty good. With Fina, I'm going to set up re-raise on my units just in case. I'm not really too worried about that, but Demon Rain can use Demonic Surge, which is just going to buff them up by 150%, and then break with 2B. And that's really all I need to say for this part of the fight. Until I deal with Siren, there's really not going to be much more to talk about in this fight. It's just kind of the same 5 turns over and over again. Debuff when necessary, you know. Don't push Ifrit past a bunch of thresholds. It's not very easy to do with my setup anyways. I don't deal a lot of damage to Ifrit to begin with. So I'm not too worried about any of that stuff. I just kind of set up protections with my healers. You know, actually heal when necessary. Not really much that needs to be said. Yeah, not really much to say at this point of the fight. Just, again, making sure that my buffs are applied, making sure my tank is tanking. And now my 2Bs are going to start really dealing some damage to Siren. And she is going to do her kind of lightning, this black wings repelling lightning, but it doesn't really matter when I have so much elemental resist being provided by Zarg and Fina. As you see, that barely dealt any damage, so I'm really not worried. And Demon Rain's going to provide us with nice bits of Limit Burst, crystals, nice kind of Esper orbs, everything we want, really. Now we do want to summon Leviathan at some point, but first I'm just going to Bastion. Again, there's not really much that needs to be said here. Because as long as you remember your rotation, you should never be in too much danger. Just always remember to keep your Sobering Waters up, and then keep your tank tanking. Sometimes you will need to dispel these guys. Right now I don't really have to. They have buffed their stats, but it's not a huge problem right now. So I'll just keep going with that. When it's useful, I will use Fina to just dispel them. So what they're trying to do there is status me, but I really just ignore it, so not really much to say about that. I'm just going to be a little quiet for a while, just kind of let the fight speak for itself. Again, there's just really not that much to say right now. That's why I'm going to be quiet. Yeah, not really anything to say. You see they got a lot of HP, but we'll chew through it eventually. Don't worry. We'll eventually get there. It's just gonna be a really long fight. In other news, I'm really loving the change to this interface, letting you know exactly when you have to cover again. It's really nice. Really nice and easy to understand. Because before I would often forget and kind of mess myself up. It's probably a me problem, but it was something that happened. So this is pretty nice. Not have to worry about it anymore. Yeah. Again, just keep wailing on Siren. Not really much either than can do right now. And they're trying, but this is really a gear check trial, and if you have the gear and the units to be able to give you enough resistance, there's nothing they can do. They are pretty impotent. And even Zargabaath joining in on the counter fun. But there's really no need for any more Espers. You don't have to kill with one, so unless something goes horribly wrong, I probably won't be summoning another. Yeah. It's a pretty rinse and repeat kind of fight. As long as you remember what to do, that's not bad. That would be bad. Not really much else to say. Again, they try their Chaos Wavy dual wave, but we just ignore it. We don't care. No one cares. Nope, no, we don't want that. That would be a waste. What we want is this. There we go. Yeah, like I've said before, Folka, if you're using Folka and Fina together, there's really nothing you have to worry about. There's just nothing here that's really going to be able to cause too many problems. Zarg will always have mana. And yeah. Again, there's just not really much to say at the moment. That's why I'm being so quiet. She's trying really hard to repel lightning, but it just doesn't matter. The length of this kind of reminds me of Marlboro 2. That took about an hour. Not the greatest time, because that I did actually have to pay attention to, because we didn't have the nice quality of life stuff we have now, and let me just make sure. Okay, yeah, we haven't been. Okay, cool. Occasionally, again, Siren will kind of put lightning resist on someone, and then you do want to get rid of that as quickly as possible because it's just not great to not be dealing damage. But apart from that, nothing to really say here. Just kind of rinse and repeat. Yeah. The reason I'm not doing Supreme Support Weapon again is just because there's no need right now. Ifrit's defense and spirit are the only things that have been broken, and since I'm not really focused on attacking him right now, it's really pointless to do it. So I'm just focusing on Siren, just doing my most powerful attacks, kind of walloping her. I could set up Lightning Imperil, but it's a little slow, and again, I have to dispel quite a bit at this point in the fight, so it doesn't really feel worth it. Like, yeah.